U.S. President Donald Trump's envoy and son-in-law Jared Kushner returned to Israel on Monday as mediators face a new obstacle in their efforts to advance negotiations on the fragile Gaza ceasefire deal to the next and more complex phase. Key sticking points remain unresolved, including Hamas's disarmament, the reconstruction and future governance of Gaza, and the deployment of an international security force to the territory. Without a timeline for the discussions, which are likely to require significant concessions from both Israel and Hamas, there are doubts that any progress can be achieved. Another challenge has emerged recently, involving scores of Hamas fighters believed to be in tunnels beneath the southern city of Rafah, behind the so-called Yellow Line, which marks the area under Israeli control. Last week, U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff said an amnesty could be offered for fighters who laid down their arms, and that this could be a model for what Washington hoped to apply in the rest of Gaza. Witkoff said 200 fighters were trapped, although this number has not been confirmed. According to media reports, Kushner and the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu discussed the issue during a meeting in Jerusalem on Monday. Hamas has previously said the fighters will not surrender and demanded that they are given safe passage, which has so far been rejected by Israel. An Israeli government spokeswoman said Netanyahu and Kushner had discussed Phase 1, which we are currently still in, to bring our remaining hostages, and the future of Phase 2 of this plan, which includes the disarming of Hamas, demilitarizing Gaza, and ensuring Hamas will have no role in the future of Gaza ever again. The war in Gaza was triggered by the Hamas-led attack on southern Israel on 7 October 2023, when about 1,200 people were killed and 251 others were taken hostage. Since then, more than 69,000 people have been killed by Israeli attacks in Gaza, according to the Hamas-run Health Ministry, whose figures the UN considers reliable. The first phase of the ceasefire, which came into force last month, focused on halting the war, returning all hostages, and securing a surge in humanitarian aid into Gaza. 20 living hostages and the remains of 24 deceased captives have been released, with 4 bodies remaining in Gaza. In return, Israel has freed 250 Palestinian prisoners from its jails and 1,718 detainees from Gaza who were being held without charge or trial. It has also handed over the remains of 315 Palestinians from Gaza. Both Israel and Hamas have accused each other of violating the truce, with Israel saying Hamas has deliberately delayed the return of the remains of hostages, and Hamas saying that Israel has killed at least 240 Palestinians and is restricting the entry of aid supplies. Hamas has previously rejected disarmament, saying it would only do so once a Palestinian state has been established. Israel refuses any involvement in the governance of Gaza by the Western-backed Palestinian Authority, which is the body that governs parts of the occupied West Bank. Countries are reluctant to commit troops to the multinational force without clear goals, concerned that their soldiers might end up confronting fighters from Hamas and other Palestinian factions. The Israeli military currently occupies 53% of Gaza's territory and is expected to withdraw further in the next stage of the plan. With no indication of imminent advances in the negotiations, a de facto partition of Gaza between the area controlled by Israel and another ruled by Hamas was increasingly likely, sources told the Reuters news agency, with talks about reconstruction apparently likely to be limited to the Israel-controlled territory. Arab countries have already expressed concerns that the current separation could become a permanent partition of Gaza. The Trump plan does not include a pathway to Palestinian statehood, a concept which Israel rejects.